You want to know why humans aren't allowed in the Galactic Council? Ambassador Zixtal's mandibles clicked in what his species considered laughter. It's quite simple, really. They're too unpredictable. Ambassador Relathan of the Centaurian Alliance leaned forward, her crystalline form catching the light of the station's artificial sun. Unpredictable seems like an insufficient reason to exclude an entire species. The Varaxians are unpredictable. Yet they hold 3 seats. Ah, but the Varaxians are predictably unpredictable. Humans? Zixtal's antennae wiggled in apparent distress. Let me tell you about the Henderson incident. The what? Exactly. You've never heard of it because we purged it from official records. It was too embarrassing. Zixtal settled into his cushioned perch, mandibles twitching. It all started when we denied their first application for council membership. Captain Jessica Henderson stood before the council's rejection notice, displayed in perfect holographic clarity aboard the TSS Audacity. Her first officer, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Rodriguez, maintained a carefully neutral expression beside her. Well, Jessica said, tapping her fingers against the command chair's armrest. That's disappointing. Their primary reason appears to be our lack of sufficient technological advancement. Marcus read, his tone professional despite the slight twitch in his left eye. Apparently our FTL drive is crude and potentially destabilizing to established trade routes. Jessica's smile would have made a shark proud. Crude? Our Alcubierre-Martinez drive is perfectly stable. We literally bend space-time like a piece of paper. They prefer their standardized quantum slipstream technology, Marcus replied. The Council has been using it for the past 3,000 years. Right, because innovation is clearly overrated. Jessica stood, straightening her uniform. Send a message to Fleet Command. Tell them the Council has officially rejected our application. And the unofficial reason? Tell them the stuck-up space bureaucrats think we're too primitive to play in their sandbox. She paused, then added, also, request permission to implement Protocol Omega-7. Marcus's eyes widened. The fine we'll make our own club protocol? With blackjack and diplomatic treaties, Jessica confirmed. Though we'll call it something more professional in the official documentation. 6 months later, Ambassador Zixtal was having a very bad day. The reason for his distress sat before him in the form of a diplomatic notification. Announcement of the formation of the Terran Cooperative Alliance. Members: Earth, founding member. Proxima Colony, founding member. Mars Federation, founding member. The Free Jovian States, founding member. The Procyon Republic. The Sirius Confederation. The Tau Ceti Economic Union, and 12 other independent stellar nations. Impossible, he chittered. They were barely able to reach their own solar system's edge a decade ago. How did they form an alliance with 17 different stellar nations? His assistant, a young arthropodian named Click, shifted nervously. It seems they offered something the other nations wanted, sir. What could they possibly offer that the Council doesn't already provide? Innovation rights, Click said. They're letting member states develop their own technological solutions rather than enforcing standardization. Also, their membership fees are 80% lower than ours. Zixtal's antennae drooped. Please tell me you're joking. No, sir. And there's more. They're actively encouraging cultural exchange programs, joint research initiatives, and... Click hesitated. And what? They're hosting an annual innovation festival called the Galileo Awards, where member states showcase their newest technologies. The grand prize is 50 million credits and priority patent rights across all TCA territories. Zixtal collapsed into his chair. They're incentivizing technological development? That's brilliant, Click suggested. Dangerous. Do you have any idea what happens when you let species develop technologies without proper oversight? Without standardization? According to early reports, sir, they've already developed 12 new variants of FTL travel, a revolutionary waste recycling system, and something called quantum entangled pizza delivery. What's pizza? I'm not entirely sure, sir, but apparently it's now possible to have it delivered instantaneously across 50 light-years. 2 years into the TCA's existence, Captain Henderson found herself back in front of the Galactic Council, though this time she wasn't requesting membership. She was responding to their summons. Would you care to explain, Council Leader Vitor demanded, why 37 Council member states have filed for membership transfer to your alliance? Jessica maintained her professional demeanor, though inside she was grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. The Terran Cooperative Alliance is an open organization, Council Leader. We welcome any nation that shares our values of innovation, cooperation, and progress. Progress. Vitor's 7 eyes blinked in sequence. You're disrupting 10,000 years of stable governance. With all due respect, Jessica replied, stability doesn't always equal progress. Did you know that since the TCA's formation, our member states have collectively registered more technological patents than the Council has in the past century? A murmur ran through the Council chamber. Vitor's skin shifted to a dangerous shade of purple. Those technologies haven't been properly tested or standardized. Actually, they have. We've established the Technological Safety and Innovation Board, or TSIB. Every invention is thoroughly tested before approval. The difference is, we measure them against practical safety standards, rather than arbitrary traditional requirements. Traditional requirements exist for a reason. Yes, Jessica agreed. They existed to maintain order. But order without progress is just stagnation wearing a fancy hat. The chamber erupted in shocked gasps and angry mutters. Jessica continued, her voice carrying over the chaos. The TCA isn't trying to replace the Council. We're simply offering an alternative. A place where species can grow, innovate, and cooperate without being bound by outdated restrictions. And what happens when one of your member states develops a technology that threatens galactic peace? Vitor demanded. The same thing that happens when someone invents a new technology anywhere. We assess it, regulate it, and ensure it's used responsibly. The difference is, we don't automatically fear what's new. 5 years after the Henderson incident, as it came to be known, the political landscape of the galaxy had shifted dramatically. The Galactic Council still existed, but it had been forced to reform many of its policies to remain relevant. The TCA had grown to include over 200 member states, and its annual Innovation Festival had become the most anticipated event in the galaxy. Looking back, Ambassador Zixtal concluded, his mandibles clicking softly. We probably should have seen it coming. Humans have this fascinating ability to turn rejection into motivation. Ambassador Relathan's crystalline form sparkled with amusement. And that's why they're banned from the Council? Oh, they're not banned anymore. We actually invited them to join last year. Zixtal's antennae wiggled in what might have been embarrassment. They politely declined. They what? Apparently, Captain Henderson, now Admiral Henderson, sent a personal message with their response. Would you like to hear it? Please. Zixtal activated his communicator, and a holographic message appeared. Dear Council Leader Vitor, thank you for your invitation to join the Galactic Council. After careful consideration, we must respectfully decline. However, we'd like to extend our own invitation for the Council to join the Terran Cooperative Alliance as an honorary member. We're currently planning next year's Galileo Awards, and we'd love to have Council representatives on the judging panel. There's this fascinating new technology from the Procyon Republic, something about using quantum mechanics to brew the perfect cup of coffee. I think you'd find it interesting. Also, we're still offering that 80% discount on membership fees. Best regards, Admiral Jessica Henderson, TCA High Commissioner. P.S. The quantum entangled pizza delivery now works across 100 light-years. Let me know if you'd like to try it. First order's on me. Relathan's crystalline form chimed with laughter. So that's why you looked so uncomfortable when I ordered pizza for lunch. Indeed. Zixtal sighed. The worst part? It was absolutely delicious. In her office aboard the TCA flagship NSS Enterprise, the humans had insisted on the name, citing historical and cultural significance. Admiral Henderson looked out at the vast space dock where ships of all designs and origins sat side by side. Some used the traditional quantum slipstream drive, others employed various versions of the Alcubierre-Martinez drive, and a few used technologies that had been theoretical just a few years ago. Another application for membership, Admiral. Marcus, now her chief of staff, reported. The Draconis Imperium. Weren't they one of the Council's founding members? Yes, ma'am. Apparently their young emperor was very impressed by the quantum coffee maker at last year's Galileo Awards. Jessica laughed. Well, we did promise to make the galaxy a more interesting place. That we did, ma'am. Marcus paused, then added with a smile. By the way, your pizza's here, delivered from that new place on Alpha Centauri. Instantaneous delivery across 50 systems, Jessica mused, opening the perfectly hot box. Not bad for a bunch of crude technologists, wouldn't you say? As she bit into her slice of pizza, topped with both Earth pepperoni and Procyon bioluminescent mushrooms, Jessica couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the best way to deal with rejection wasn't to force your way in, but to build something better. And if that something better happened to include instant pizza delivery, well, that was just the cherry on top. Or in this case, the mushroom on the pizza. You seem troubled, Ambassador, Admiral Henderson remarked, observing the holographic projection of Ambassador Zixtel's nervously twitching antennae. I assume this isn't a social call about the quantum pizza delivery service? The arthropodian diplomat's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of acute distress that Henderson had learned to recognize over the years. Admiral, we need to discuss the Promethean Initiative. Jessica leaned back in her chair, maintaining a carefully neutral expression. The Promethean Initiative was the TCA's most ambitious project to date, a collaborative effort to create a network of artificial quantum consciousness nodes that would revolutionize interstellar communication and computation. What about it? The Council has received concerning reports. Your scientists are pushing the boundaries of what's considered safe in terms of artificial intelligence development. Ambassador, every aspect of the initiative has been thoroughly vetted by the TSIB. We have fail-safes, containment protocols. You're creating a quantum consciousness network that spans multiple star systems, Zixtal interrupted. The potential for catastrophic failure is precisely why we're proceeding with carefully measured steps, Jessica finished. Would you like to review our safety protocols? We maintain complete transparency with all our projects. That's part of the problem. Do you know how many species have accessed your research data? How many might be attempting to replicate your experiments without proper oversight? Jessica smiled. You mean like how the Draconis Imperium improved our quantum coffee maker design and created the first taste-customizing beverage synthesizer? This is considerably more serious than coffee, Admiral. Of course it is, but the principle remains the same. Innovation thrives when knowledge is shared and improved upon collectively. She leaned forward. Tell me, Ambassador, what really brings you here today? Zixtal's antennae drooped. The Council. We've detected unusual quantum fluctuations near our core worlds. They match the theoretical patterns your scientists described in their published papers about consciousness transference. Ah. Jessica's expression softened. And you think someone's attempting to create their own quantum consciousness network without following our safety protocols? Given the location and pattern of the fluctuations, we believe it may be one of our own member states. Marcus found Admiral Henderson in the Enterprise's observation deck 3 hours later, staring at the swirling patterns of a nearby nebula. How bad is it? Remember when we said innovation without proper oversight could be dangerous? Jessica asked, not turning around. Turns out we were right, just not in the way the Council originally feared. The quantum fluctuations? The Arcturus Collective, one of the Council's oldest members, decided to skip a few steps in consciousness digitization research. They're trying to force evolve their entire species into a quantum state all at once. Marcus whistled low. That's incredibly stupid and dangerous. Yes, if they succeed, they could theoretically transcend physical form and become true energy beings. If they fail, how many people are we talking about? 8 billion? Jessica finally turned to face her old friend. The Council wants our help, officially. Marcus raised an eyebrow. They're asking us to intervene in internal Council affairs? They're asking the TCA to prevent a potential catastrophe that could ripple through quantum space-time and affect multiple galaxies. A slight smile crossed her face. Also, they'd like us to send Dr. Patel and his team. Apparently, being the leading expert in quantum consciousness architecture makes him the go-to person for preventing consciousness-based disasters. How long do we have? Based on the increasing amplitude of the fluctuations, 48 hours, maximum. Marcus nodded, already pulling up his command interface. I'll have the rapid response fleet ready in 2 hours. Dr. Patel's team? Already briefed and packing their equipment. We'll need the new quantum stabilizers, all of them. The ones that haven't completed final testing? Jessica's smile turned grim. Funny how often untested human technology ends up saving the day, isn't it? The Arcturan capital world hung in space like a jewel wrapped in quantum fire. The planet's entire atmosphere rippled with energy patterns that shouldn't have been possible in normal space-time. Beautiful, Dr. Anjali Patel remarked from her station aboard the TSS Prometheus, the TCA's premier research vessel. Terrifying, but beautiful. Can you stop it? Council Leader Vitor asked. The fact that he had personally accompanied the intervention fleet spoke volumes about the situation's severity. Stop it? No. Anjali's fingers danced across her holographic interface. But we can guide it. The transformation has progressed too far. Trying to halt it now would cause exactly the kind of catastrophic cascade we're trying to prevent. Then what do you suggest? We give them what they want, just not all at once. She looked up at Vitor. Your people have a backup of the Arcturan genetic template, correct? In case of catastrophic environmental events? Yes, but good, because we're about to do something incredibly human, she grinned. We're going to improvise. 24 hours later, Ambassador Zixtal stood before the combined emergency session of the Council and TCA leadership, trying to make sense of Dr. Patel's report. Let me understand this correctly, he said, mandibles clicking rapidly. Instead of stopping the transformation, you created a quantum subdivision matrix that allowed the Arcturan consciousness to exist simultaneously in both physical and quantum states? Think of it as quantum time-sharing, Anjali explained. The Arcturans can now shift their consciousness between physical and quantum forms at will, while their original bodies remain safely in stasis. We're calling it the Quantum Incarnation Protocol, or QIP. And this is safe? Safer than what they were attempting, certainly. We've implemented all the safety protocols from the Promethean Initiative, plus a few new ones we developed on the spot. She paused. Though I should note that the pizza delivery service might experience some interference near Arcturus for the next few weeks, while we fine-tune the consciousness transmission frequencies. The chamber erupted in a mixture of shocked gasps, nervous laughter, and bewildered murmuring. Admiral Henderson, watching from her seat, couldn't help but smile. 5 years ago, the mere mention of consciousness transference would have sent the Council into a panic. Now they were discussing it alongside quantum pizza delivery complications. Vitor raised his appendages for silence. Dr. Patel, Admiral Henderson, the Council owes you and the TCA a debt of gratitude. This incident has made it clear that our approach to technological advancement needs reconsideration. If I may, Jessica stood, addressing both assemblies. Perhaps this is an opportunity. The Council excels at maintaining stability and order. The TCA excels at innovation and adaptation. Instead of viewing these as competing philosophies, why not view them as complementary? What are you suggesting? Vitor asked. A formal partnership. The Council continues to provide the foundation of galactic civilization, the stability and structure that enables peaceful coexistence. The TCA continues to push the boundaries of what's possible, but with the Council's expertise in maintaining order to help guide us. Together, we establish new protocols for handling emerging technologies and species-wide transformations. Like some sort of Innovation Oversight Committee? Zixtal suggested. I was thinking more along the lines of the Galactic Development and Research Alliance, Jessica replied. GIDERA for short. Vitor's 7 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of deep consideration. And this alliance would be separate from both the Council and the TCA? But drawing on the strengths of both, Jessica confirmed. No more us versus them, just different parts of the same galactic community working together. The chamber fell silent as Vitor and the other Council leaders conferred privately. Finally, Vitor spoke. We will need time to consider all implications, but the Council is provisionally in favor of this proposal. Excellent, Jessica smiled. Should we discuss the details over pizza? I hear the Arcturans have developed a fascinating quantum state variant that exists as all possible toppings simultaneously until you observe it. Later, in her office aboard the Enterprise, Jessica reviewed the day's events with Marcus. So, he said, we went from being banned from the Council to essentially creating a triple alliance that spans the known galaxy, all because they thought we were too unpredictable. Sometimes being unpredictable is exactly what the universe needs. Jessica picked up a slice of quantum state pizza, which settled into a combination of Earth pepperoni and Arcturan light fruits as soon as she looked at it. Though I have to admit, I didn't predict the pizza becoming such a crucial element of galactic diplomacy. Speaking of diplomacy, Dr. Patel's team is already receiving requests from other species interested in consciousness transference technology. Let me guess, they all want to skip the safety protocols? Actually, no. Marcus smiled. They're specifically requesting to do it the human way, complete with all safety measures and extensive testing periods. Apparently, our reputation for turning cautious innovation into stable progress is spreading. Jessica laughed. Now that's truly unpredictable. We've become the poster child for responsible technological development. The Council's worst nightmare turned into their most reliable partner. Marcus shook his head. What's next? Well, Jessica picked up a data pad. The Proxima colony has some interesting ideas about using quantum consciousness technology to communicate with solar plasma beings they've discovered. But maybe we should finish this pizza first. Good call, Marcus agreed. One reality-altering innovation at a time. Actually, Jessica grinned, I was thinking we could do 2 or 3 simultaneously. Just to maintain our reputation for unpredictability. As if in agreement, her slice of pizza shifted to display a perfect mix of toppings from across the galaxy, a fitting metaphor for the new era of cooperation they had somehow managed to create. The discovery of the solar plasma beings in Proxima Centauri should have been straightforward. Humanity had already established communication protocols with numerous non-corporeal species through the Promethean Initiative. However, as Admiral Henderson was learning, nothing involving humanity's innovations ever remained simple for long. Let me ensure I understand this correctly, she said, studying the holographic representation floating above her desk. The plasma beings aren't just living in the star, they are the star? Dr. Anjali Patel nodded enthusiastically. The entire stellar mass functions as a distributed consciousness network. It's brilliant, really. They use magnetic field lines as information pathways and solar flares as data burst transmissions. And they've been trying to communicate with us? For approximately 12,000 years. Anjali's eyes sparkled with excitement. All those seemingly random stellar phenomena astronomers have been documenting? They're essentially their version of sending text messages. Jessica pinched the bridge of her nose. So, we've been leaving them on read for 12 millennia? More like marking their messages as spam, Marcus commented from his position by the window. Though in our defense, we didn't exactly expect a star to be sliding into our DMs. The council representatives must be having fits about this, Jessica mused. Actually, Anjali said, they're being surprisingly cooperative, especially since we discovered that similar patterns exist in nearly 40% of surveyed stars in council space. Jessica's coffee cup froze halfway to her lips. 40%? Give or take a few percentage points. We're still analyzing the data, but it appears stellar consciousness might be more common than biological consciousness in our galaxy. Well, Jessica set down her cup. That certainly puts our position in the universe into perspective. The newly established Galactic Development and Research Alliance headquarters buzzed with activity. Representatives from both the Council and TCA worked side by side, coordinating the largest diplomatic first contact initiative in known history. Ambassador Zixtal found Admiral Henderson in the observation lounge, watching ships from dozens of species dock at the station. I never thought I'd say this, but we need more human unpredictability. Jessica turned, raising an eyebrow. That might be the first time anyone from the Council has ever made that request. The plasma beings, they're refusing to communicate through traditional quantum consciousness interfaces. I thought Dr. Patel's team developed a specialized protocol for stellar communication. They did. The plasma beings reviewed it and called it, and I quote from the magnetic flux translation, adorably linear. Zixtal's antenna twitched. They want to speak with the species that created quantum pizza delivery. Jessica blinked. They want to talk about pizza? They want to talk with the species that looked at quantum entanglement, one of the fundamental forces of the universe, and decided to use it for food delivery. They find our ability to simultaneously respect and irreverently adapt cosmic principles intriguing. So, Jessica said slowly, our reputation for being unpredictable actually makes us predictable enough to be diplomatic intermediaries? Indeed, though I should note they're particularly interested in something they discovered in your historical broadcasts, something called memes. Jessica closed her eyes and counted to 10. Please tell me we're not about to conduct first contact negotiations with stellar beings through the medium of internet memes. That depends, Zixtal said, his mandibles forming what she'd learned to recognize as a smile. How do you feel about explaining "this is fine, dog" to a star? The first official communication session with the Proxima Centauri consciousness took place 3 weeks later. The combined scientific teams of the GDRA had constructed a massive quantum consciousness interface array around the star, designed to translate between plasma-based thought patterns and more conventional forms of communication. Dr. Patel stood before the assembled representatives of the Council, TCA, and GDRA, looking slightly sleep-deprived but triumphant. The good news is, we've established stable two-way communication. The interesting news is, well, perhaps it's better if I show you. The main holographic display activated, showing a complex pattern of magnetic field lines that quickly resolved into a familiar image. A dog sitting in a burning room, saying, "This is fine." "They sent back our meme," Marcus observed. "No," Angeli corrected. "They improved it. Watch." The image shifted, showing the same dog now sitting in the corona of a star, surrounded by plasma flares, still saying, "This is fine," but now in 12 different quantum states simultaneously. "They've mastered quantum memetics," Angeli explained. "They're using our cultural touchstones to demonstrate complex scientific principles." That image actually contains a complete thesis on quantum state superposition and its application to consciousness transfer. Vitor's 7 eyes blinked rapidly. "They embedded advanced scientific theory? In a meme?" "Apparently, they find it an elegant way to combine information density with cultural exchange." Angeli brought up another image. Success Kid, but with the background showing a complex diagram of stellar magnetic field manipulation. "This one contains their proposal for teaching us how to safely manipulate stellar plasma for energy generation." Jessica fought to keep her expression professional. "So, humanity's greatest contribution to galactic diplomacy is teaching stars how to communicate through memes?" "Not just memes," Angeli said. "They're particularly interested in something they found in our early 21st century data archives. They want to know if we can adapt something called Twitter for quantum stellar communication." The room fell silent. Finally, Marcus spoke. "We're about to create quantum social media for stars, aren't we?" "Look on the bright side," Jessica said. "At least we know their posts will be literally fire." 6 months later, Jessica sat in her office, reviewing the latest reports from the Stellar Communication Initiative. The quantum social media platform, officially named NOVA, Network for Organized Vital Astronomy, but colloquially known as StarChat, had exceeded all expectations. The Betelgeuse Consciousness just posted another thread about fusion optimization, Marcus reported. "It's gone viral among the red giants. Also, apparently stars can have heated arguments about proper plasma flow techniques. Please tell me they're not actually getting into flame wars." Too late. Though Dr. Patel says their version of internet drama is actually advancing our understanding of stellar physics by centuries. Jessica laughed. "So human chaos is once again advancing galactic science? The Council must be having conniptions." "Actually, they're proposing to expand the program. Turns out quantum meme exchange is incredibly efficient for information transfer. The Council's own scientists are adapting the format for their official reports." "You're joking." Marcus handed her a data pad. The latest Council scientific bulletin began with a perfectly formatted, "One does not simply meme," explaining complex quantum mechanics. "We've created a monster," Jessica mused. "A monster that's revolutionizing interstellar communication and bringing together biological and stellar civilizations through the power of shared humor," Marcus corrected. "Also, the quantum pizza delivery service now extends to plasma-based life forms. Apparently, stars enjoy the concept of food delivery so much they've started exchanging recipes for plasma-based meals." "Humanity gets banned from the Council for being unpredictable," Jessica said, shaking her head. "Ends up creating our own alliance, then helps form a triple alliance, and finally teaches stars how to use memes and order pizza. If anyone had predicted this outcome, they'd have been banned from the Council for being crazy," Marcus finished. "Though I have to ask, what's next?" Jessica pulled up another report, this one featuring a galaxy brain meme that actually contained legitimate proposals for galactic brain-like quantum computing networks. "Well, the Andromeda Galaxy just sent its first quantum meme. Apparently, they've been watching our development with interest." "Intergalactic meme exchange?" Marcus raised an eyebrow. "That seems on brand for humanity," Jessica suggested. "Just wait until they discover cat videos." As if on cue, her quantum communication device chimed with a notification. The Proxima Centauri consciousness had just posted its first "Icon has plasma" meme, complete with quantum physics equations hidden in the impact font. Humanity might have been banned from the Council for being unpredictable, but their unpredictability had led to something far greater. A galaxy where stars shared memes, quantum physics was explained through image macros, and pizza could be delivered across light years. And somewhere, in the vast expanses of space, a stellar consciousness was probably already working on adapting "Never Gonna Give You Up" into a quantum state succession diagram. The galaxy would never be the same, but then again, that had been the point all along.